Got your Bibles, go with me, Ecclesiastes chapter 6. Sorry, Missy, I forgot to give that to you. I would tell you that one of these days I'll get it all lined out, but that probably ain't going to happen. I told Brooke last Wednesday, I said, I just don't know about this Ecclesiastes. You know, one good thing about my wife, she's always honest with me. She said, well, it ain't that bad. She said, it's just not a little bit long, she said. So, Lord took care of that. There's only 12 verses in this chapter. But I made the mistake. I've read through it and studied it. And so last night I sat there and was laying in the bed or sitting in the bed and was studying and writing some notes down. I skipped chapter 6. I was going on chapter 7. I was halfway through chapter 7 before I realized, hey, we didn't go over 6. And I know there's a lot in here with Solomon. And I truly believe to really understand Ecclesiastes, first and foremost, you've got to know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. Because you've got to realize that everything he's saying, all this about vanity and everything is vanity, what he's talking about is everything this world has to offer us is pointless. Everything that we work for is pointless. We didn't work very hard, but some other people worked very hard to build this church. Now, some of us did work hard, but eventually, you know what's going to happen in this church? It's going to fall. We've sprayed it with termites, spray and done all this, but eventually those boards underneath are going to rot, and it's going to fall, and it's going to crumble. And all the work that we did to build this building will be for what? For nothing. Pointless. And it goes with everything, the vehicles we buy. And I'm not going to get into the Toyota and the Ford and the Chevy thing here tonight. I don't want to get Donnie roused up. But no matter what type of vehicle you get, eventually what happens? They're junk. They rust, and they're not good for anything. And that's what he's saying. If we're striving to please and look at this life down here, it's pointless. It's vanity. And we'll see a little bit of that here tonight, and then next Wednesday we'll look in a little bit more. As Darrell was talking about a funeral there last week, a funeral without God, and it was awful. And I've been in some funerals where I'm the only one there that I don't know why they asked me to come. Because I'm the only one there believing what's coming out of my mouth and things like that. But when you really think about it, it's sad. How many have ever done this? And I'm just starting to do this. I don't think my mom ever done it. I think she got happy as I got older. And she's like, woo, he's gone. Jess, she keeps right beside her. Buys her a car, 2 cars, whatever she wants. I turned 18. She said, go to college. I'm going to see you again. She even moved. She moved. I went to college. She went to Mason County. She said, I don't want you to find me. But how many of us ever look and just look at our kids and get sad because of the time that's gone by? I mean, I do. Am I the only one that does that? Am I crazy? But I look back at pictures of mine, and my son's 7, my little girl's 5, and I look back at pictures when they're a baby, and I'm about getting tears. It kills me. It breaks my heart. And to think, man, I miss that so much. Now, I don't miss enough to have another one, okay? Let's just get that out there. But, I do. I miss it. I'll never forget this time that Brody, the first kid's amazing. You just, everything. You just soak up everything. And you know how this is, right? With Jamie and Richard. There's all kinds of pictures of Christian. They ain't a picture of one of Justin, is there? They didn't take no pictures of him, did they? No. And then you do that, don't you? Your first kid, you're like, capturing everything. By the time the second one comes along, you're like, we'll get that, he'll take as many pictures. But I'll never forget one time him laying there on that bed, and I think he had on a Michael Jordan onesie with a 23. And I was just sitting there talking, and he let out this laugh. I mean, and I used to have a video of it, and I cannot find that video. I love that, though. It was just something about it. And I miss that. And if you're not careful, and that's where Solomon was depressed. I mean, that's what I believe as I read Ecclesiastes. And people in this life, if you look at just life, and you look at the things of this life, you'll miss that. And people that don't have Jesus and have a hope of a better life. See, that's what I love. I have a good life here. I have a good wife. I have I'm not going to call them good children. I have 2 children who can be good. I have a little dog that's the best thing in the world. I have a good life, but here's what's even better. I've got a greater life than what I have right now waiting for me. Amen. There's something for me. Yes, it's sad to look at and to look back and see about my children. It's sad. And how many of us, and I'm starting to do this now. I'm starting to get to that point. How you remember what you used to be able to do, right? I mean, does it, Darryl, Travis, y'all don't have this problem? When you do this, your legs get weak. I mean, I remember when I used to be able to do everything. I remember when Big John was Big John. He ain't Big John no more. Remember, we couldn't hurt Big John, could we? I remember I couldn't be hurt. Lord, I could do anything. Now, I get out of the bed wrong. It's about pulled muscle. You got to be careful getting out of the bed. And you look back on your life and you think of and you start to get sad, don't you? And you start to, I don't know about you all, high school was my favorite time in the world. We had a blast. We did. And guess what? We didn't do nothing bad. Our senior trip was amazing. You know what the worst thing that happened on our senior trip? About 4 or 5 girls got caught smoking. That was it. I mean, and it was awful. It didn't matter that half the boys were dipping. No, but the girls smoking, now that was bad. And that was the worst thing on our senior trip that happened. There was nothing else. And there was 100 and some of us kids, and we loved it. We all hung together. It was high school was amazing for me. And I look back at that, and you get sad because why? Those times are gone, and you can't get them back, can you? And that's what Solomon is looking here, and we'll see here. And he talks about how it's better to be dead. It's better to be dead than it is to be alive. Why? Because those who are dead, what have they done? They've gone on to be with Jesus. And he's talking about us that are saved. Let's look here in chapter 6. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men. A man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul of all that he desireth, yet God give him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and is an evil disease. And I thought about this, as I read it, I had to read this 5 or 6 times. But you think about somebody that has something. And I was thinking about this, when we first got our pool, and now we got it, when we first got our pool, we didn't have to buy it. We got our pool given to us by our neighbor. All I had to do was take it down. And I had to pay somebody to put it up and put a liner in it. When we first got it, was amazing. But now to me it's a headache. Because it's always green. And it's always cloudy. But to somebody else that comes to my house, what is it? It's nice. It's nice. And you think about, and what I'm trying to get at is, how you have possessions that other people think that are awesome, but you've got so used to it that what? It's not that nice anymore, is it? Every one of us in here have bought vehicles, in our lives. And when we first get that vehicle, what is that vehicle? It is the nicest thing we've ever owned. for about what? 6 months. Right? We wash it every week. Not, if you're like me, maybe for a month. Then after that, it just starts tapering off. And then what happens? It's not as nice anymore, is it? There's always something nice. And this is what he's getting at here. He says, here are men, and I think he's talking a little about himself. He said, I've got riches, I've got wealth, and I've got honor, and when I look out and see it, it's never enough. It never satisfies me, and the only people that enjoy it are other people. He said, I've got vineyards. We read in the first part of Ecclesiastes. He said, I've got vineyards and all kinds of different trees. And he said, I even made me pools of water just to water my plants. He said, I'm not even the one getting to eat them. Everybody else is eating them. It's not that nice to me anymore. We lose interest in it. Right? Then he goes on in verse 3 and he says, if a man beget 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he. And I want you to understand what he's saying here, if a man beget 100 children. And remember, in those times, big families that was honor. And I don't know about you. I don't know. Kathy may know how many. Did we ever learn how many kids Solomon has? I mean, the guy had what? 300 wives and 700 concubines. I'm going to say he had a lot of kids. So I bet. But he says here, I've got all kinds of children, and I've lived long years of life. And what does long life represent? God blessing you. Anything over 70 is what? It's a blessing. Right? You living on blessing time?
Yes.
Golly. Don't use that old Mary Lou. And his soul be not filled with good, and he has no burial. You ever thought about that? There's some people who are there's some people that have to plan out their own funeral. Why do they do that? Because they're worried what? Some people do it so that others don't have to. But some people also do it because why? They know they ain't going to. Right? And I'm fine with that. Whatever my family wants to do it. I don't care. If they want a casket, give me a casket. If they don't want a casket, I don't care. When we buried my dad, I looked at Jay Steele and I said, I looked at Jason, I said, Jason, I want the cheapest casket you got. And I said, that's it. And my Uncle Brucey said, no, we got to put a vault. I said, Uncle Brucey, what does it matter? He said, I've worked in the coal mines. He said, something about being underground, we got to do a vault. He said, I'll pay for it. I said, if you'll pay for it, you can put it in the vault. I said, but I don't care. Because why? Because this old body don't matter nothing, does it? This old body don't mean nothing. But to this world, what is it? To this world, that's all people can think about, right? I want to have the best casket. I want to have the best flowers. Make sure you send me off right. If they're sending you off, you done missed the point of life. For he cometh with vanity and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. And you think about how many people have lived their life as rich people, and they've done all these things. And here's what we want to do. We want to look at our superstars, don't we? And I'm talking about me. I want to look at the superstars and them. But no, let's not talk about superstars. Let's just talk about rich people that we have no idea about. And why do we have no idea about? Who was the richest man 300 years ago? Does anybody know? We have no idea. Why? Because he's forgotten. Isn't he? And that's what he's saying here. If you have all this money and all this power,
Moreover, he hath not seen the Son, nor know anything. This hath more rest than the other. He says somebody who has not been born and does not know anything has more rest than somebody that has been, that has lived and died. You think about it when a baby's born. Before it's born, it can rest, can't it? In the mother's womb, the baby sleeps on its time, doesn't it? Out of the mother's womb, they sleep on our time. Right? We got to lay them down. You know, if you got somebody like my wife who's nap police in NPD, nap police department, won't let the kids nap nor the husband. But you know, we do. It's all on us. And from the day they come out, what are they doing? When the doctor says, here he is or here she is, from that moment on, they're dying. Aren't they? Their life will never be as easy from that moment on, will it? They'll have diaper rashes. They might get colicky. They'll have stomach cramps. The pain begins and the sorrow begins, doesn't it? And as they get older, what happens? They have hormone changes. They go through depressions. They go through anxiety. Right? Then, Lord help us all, they have to get married. I'm just kidding. I got the best marriage there is. But then they have to deal with, I don't know about you, but man, I think of things all the time that worries me to death. Like yesterday, the kids were playing ball again at the house last night. And I've got that metal pole. And they go in for layups. And you know what goes into my mind when they're going in for a layup? They're going to hit the pole. They're going to roll an ankle. I'm waiting for Brody to fall, because that's going to happen. You know, I'm just waiting for something bad to happen. That's the cares of life. That's what we have to deal with, or that's what I have to deal with. And I tell you, and you said, Jeremy, you ought not be like that. You ought not have those thoughts. I agree with you. But when I do have those thoughts, what I remind myself is this. God's got it. If they do break a leg, guess what? A leg will heal. If they hit the pole, the ball goal is not going to fall. It'll be all right. I ain't worried about their head. Verse 6, yea, though he live 1,000 years, twice told, yet hath he seen no good, do not all go to one place. All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. Man, that right there, listen, if people don't believe the Bible, I don't know why. That right there is one of the greatest scriptures ever. We are never satisfied, are we? And why do we work? Let's be honest. Why do we work? Oh, we could do without a house, couldn't we? We could do without a car. But now you cut the cornbread and the beans and the tater. You shut McDonald's down. You want to see a riot in Pineville, close McDonald's. Son, they will storm the streets. I'll be right there with them. Number one, no cheese. Number one, no cheese. Dr. Pepper, please. I mean, we get tore up when we go through there and they're on a boil water advisory and they got Dr. Pepper, don't we? So I don't want no canned pop. Don't get as much. That $1 pop ain't as good then, is it? You can get that big 32 ounce with it for $1, but then you get 12 ounce can now. All that we do is for what? For us to eat. For things to go in our body, but yet what? We are never, ever filled. And here's what's the bad part. We should be. What are you saying, Jeremy? Jesus lived 40 days and never put anything in his mouth. Did he? 40 days in the wilderness. And what did he tell Satan? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And I don't know about you, and I'm talking about myself. I've never had this experience, and a lot of it's because of me, all of it's because of me. Have you ever got so into reading the Bible that you skipped a meal? Or are you like me? You start reading, you get hungry, you go in the kitchen, and you bring it and you eat it over top of the Bible. If you get in some of my pages, you might find a little mustard or something on the page, or little Doritos, or Grippo dust. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit. And I want you to understand what he's talking about here. For what hath the wise more than the fool? Or what hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? And what it's talking about there with the poor, it's talking, he's talking about Christians. They know how to walk before the living. And better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. We've all got dreams, don't we? I can't remember what song is it. Darryl may know. Benny used to. Thank her hopes. I've had dreams. I've even held them in my hands. But the wandering of the desire, that don't get us nowhere, does it? We all watch TV and we see these shows, and they call them reality shows, right? And we really know what? That ain't reality, is it? That's not true. Even everybody, pretty much everybody in here watched Duck Dynasty at one time, didn't we? I know Brother Bill did. He was a Duck Dynasty fanatic. And even in that wasn't full reality. There were some things in there that was staged, wasn't it? And we tell our kids all the time, you wait till reality sets in, right? You wait till you get in the real world. That's what we say is, wait till you get in the real world. But what we don't realize is the world that we're talking about when we talk to those kids, that's not reality either, is it? Better is the sight of the eyes. What is he talking about? Better is to see not just the picture here, but the whole picture, including heaven and earth. We're so focused on earth, we can't see what heaven looks like, can we? We quote that scripture, eye hath not seen, ear hath not heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man what God has prepared. But what we forget is to go on past that where it says, but the Spirit revealeth the mysteries of God. In other words, he said, man cannot get it, but I, through my Spirit, will show you what heaven is. So in other words, yes, we can see heaven, but it won't be us, it won't be with these eyes that we'll see heaven, it'll be with our spiritual eyes that we'll see heaven. And I used to wonder about things like that. Like the movie Heaven is for Real had a little boy. And I used to say, oh, that's not possible. Because I would quote that scripture. I have not seen, ear hath not heard. That's what I'd say. And then one day God sat me down and I read that scripture. And right after that it told me, the Spirit revealeth the mysteries of God. And I said, whew, guess I'm wrong. Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desires. How many times have I, Jeremy Sanders, and how many times have we got caught up in the desires of what we wanted? You want me to give you the best example I can give you? You're sitting in it. I'll never forget, I come in after you all had kind of got everything set up to build this church. And I come in on it, and we were having trouble because you had to be under, was it 400 or 300 bill, and so many, 6,000 square feet, wasn't it? And we was 4,800 or 5,400 square feet and under so many people, but it was you had to be both. We took it as you could be one but not the other. And that was when we had what? We had, was it 6 classrooms over here? Or 5 classrooms and a nursery over here, a pastor studied there, and a hallway that went down. And we called Mr. Brett Hightower and was talking with him. And I said, Mr. Hightower, he said, well, they told me you all have 90 for Sunday school. I said, huh? 90 for Sunday school? We luckily have 90 for church. I said, we might have 40 or 50 for Sunday school. But our wandering desires seen something else, didn't it? Right? We had this big, we seen Haynes Flat, didn't we? We want to be like Haynes Flat, and it is a beautiful church. But it's not the church God had for us. And I don't know about you, but when I look now, I can't see no other church but this one right here. Do you all? Some of us may still have a glimpse of the old church. And I do. I've got a glimpse of the old church. But when I hear Mill Creek Baptist Church, this is exactly what I see. Because it's all that we need right now, isn't it? It is. We don't need nothing bigger than this, do we? But he says this is pointless. He said a man can't even dream or go on. He said that's pointless. That's what Solomon's saying. Let's go on. Verse 10, that which hath been is named already, and it is known that is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? You ever get disappointed? You ever get sometimes in your life and get kind of disappointed? Like you deserve better? You deserve it? You ever do that? So, am I the only, I've worked hard, Lord. I deserve better than this. Right? When me and Brooke were remodeling our bathroom back in Christmas week, well, we had that, we watched Flip or whatever his name, Chip and Joe, man, I've got into what this building off the grid now. I like it where they build stuff out, crazy stuff. We've seen all the shows, Fixer Upper, Property Brothers, And I said, let's do a tile shower. What we'll do is I'll take the shower out of our bathroom and put it in the kids' bathroom, and then I'll tile our shower. I said, I can do that in a day. I can move the shower today. That way we'll have a shower in the house. And so we just kept on talking about it. Man, we were, doing this, and there's Travis doing all his fancy tile work, making me look bad. I finally looked at her and I said, you know what, let's just buy another tub. We don't need a tile. I wanted the tile. I had a wandering desire to get the tile shower. Why? You ever thought about that? Why do we have to have a tile shower? And I'm not picking on the tile shower, Travis. It is beautiful, and you've done a good job at it. But we're trying to make this elaborate thing to spend what? For most of us should be no more than 5 or 6 minutes. Now I know some of us take longer showers than others. Right? But why do we need it? It's pointless, isn't it? It's pointless. And then he goes on to see here. Here we feel sorry for ourselves. And what he says is how can you can't contend with God, can you? And this comes down to the main thing. We are so content with our relationship with God, but with nothing else in our lives, are we? Are we? We're never content with the food we eat. We're never content with the house we live in. We've always got to fix it up. We've always got to do something more. The pastor is never content with the F-150 he drives. He's got to get one every 2 years, right? I know y'all thinking it. The last one was not me, it was her, okay? John's my witness. Bill, they were there. Derek was there. Yankee was there. They seen it. We're never content, aren't we? We got to have new polos, right? Why? Because we wear the same ones over and over. How many ladies in here don't wear the same outfit once a month, right? Got to get at least. I know Brooke works with a lady that I don't think she ever wears the same outfit twice. Never does. I'm trying to get Brooke to move because it's rubbing off on Brooke. Right? We're never satisfied with anything, but our relationship with God is always good enough, isn't it? Lord, I'm close enough. Right? Our church is always good enough. We're doing enough as a church, aren't we? We're content with that, aren't we? Seeing there be many things, and he says this multiple times. There's many things that increase vanity. He says, all around you in your life you look and it's vanity. You went to work today, and guess what? Today's over, and it's vanity. You fixed a meal today, and Donnie ate all of it, Rosie, now it's vanity. Gone, ain't it? Ate most of it, he said. I don't know about you all, but this quarantine, staying at home all the time, the first thing I had to go out and buy, and I actually had to, it was the first time I went into Walmart during the COVID-19. You know what the main reason I went to Walmart for? Spoons. We didn't have no spoons at the house anymore. We was eating so much cereal, we couldn't keep spoons clean now. How many times do we do that? You wash the dishes. I don't know, Brooke does this all the time. Brooke will lay down at night and I'll go in there for my, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock snack. Just like everybody else does, right? Is that right? 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock snack, and the dishes will be stacked up there, clean, sinks empty. 6 o'clock the next day, what's happened? Sinks full. Dishes, cups, spoons, forks. Right? It's pointless to wash dishes, isn't it? Because you have to do what? You have to do the same. And that's what he's saying here. Man, when you look around at life and you look around at everything that we are doing, it is pointless. We mow the grass, but guess what? It's got to be mowed again. When the fall comes, the grass mowing stops, but the leaves start to come, don't we? And I don't care how many times you blow your yard, there'll always be a leaf laying in the yard, won't there? Always. And you've always got to clean the gutters out. It's pointless, the stuff that we're doing. And that's what Solomon said here. He said, when you look around and you look at life in terms of this world, it's pointless. Bill Gates may be the richest man now, but if the Lord tarries in 50 years, he won't, will he? Actually, he's done been passed, hasn't he? By multiple people. And all that money he's worked up, what's happened? Pointless, isn't it? For who knoweth what is good for man in this life? All the days of his vain life, which he spendeth as a shadow. You know what he's talking about here as a shadow? What happens to a shadow? You get enough light, and what happens? Shadow's gone, isn't it? A shadow is only momentarily, isn't it? And the shadow is not even anything. It's not what, Austin? What's shadow not? What's everything made up of? matter. A shadow's not even matter, is it? It does not take up any space. He said that's what we spend our lives as a shadow. For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun? Can you tell me what's going to happen when you die? With your property, with your house, with your money that we've stored up, with the legacy that we've left? It's vanity, isn't it? And then chapter 12, I told you we'll always finish with this. Verse 13. Solomon's talking about, and after looking at all the vanity and the vain things of the world and what man does to live life, here's what he says. And I want you to understand, Solomon lived every aspect of life you can live. Solomon at one time was a poor child. You say, Jeremy, how was he ever a poor child? Do you remember Absalom, his brother, who chased him and his father out of the city? And they lived off of what? Off of other people? Is that not poor? He lived his life like that. He knew what it meant to be poor, didn't he? He knew what it meant to beg. He knew what it meant to go to bed without. But then he also, on the flip side, knew what? He knew what it meant to go to bed with more than enough. He had seen all aspects of life. He knew what it meant to lose people. He lost his brother Absalom. He lost his father David. He lost his mother. He lost many of people. He knew what it meant. He'd seen the battles. He'd seen the wars. He'd been like a soldier before as they fought. He'd seen all that. And then he'd seen the times of peace and the times of calmness around him. And he looked at life. And not only his life, but the life of the people in his kingdom. Many different people. He observed them and he watched them and he seen what? It's pointless. And he come to one conclusion of it all. He said, here's the whole conclusion of the matter. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. In other words, he's saying what? This is how a man lives his life without vanity. Is he fears God and he does what God says. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, Jeremy, that is right. Fear God and keep his commandments. Yes, keep his commandments. Say that a couple times. Keep his commandments. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And the second is like unto this, love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two hang the whole law. So many times we read this Bible and we skim over things that we know in our minds are true, don't we? Right? Keep his commandments. 3 simple words, but have so much power, don't they? And we fail every day. All right. Anybody got anything like to add or share?